Warriors, welcome to another important video on my channel. Thank you for joining me. And if you want to learn more about any of my anxiety recovery programs, click here at any point in the video. My friends, for many people out in the world right now, anxiety is sticking around, right? A lot of people are putting in the effort. They are learning about their anxiety. They are gaining the theory behind why they continue to deal with anxiety. They are implementing skill sets. However, the anxiety, the anxiousness, the sensitivity, the sensations, the symptoms, the mental chatter, the anxiety seems to be sticking around. Would this be the case for you? Comment below if in fact that is the case. And today's video is about why the anxiety is sticking around, because when you get to the root of why the anxiety is sticking around, we can start to go beyond the unconsciousness that is driving the anxiety in the first place, my friends. So without wasting any time, let's get to the 10 reasons for why your anxiety is sticking around. Reason number 1 is because you've identified with having anxiety. You don't see anxiety as an experience that comes and goes. You see anxiety as part of who you are, right? And with anxiety comes worry. With anxiety comes the feeling that anything uncertain is bad and dangerous. With anxiety comes this feeling that you have to be certain about everything that you do throughout the day. With anxiety comes an overemphasis of the fact that you have to rely on your mental abilities to solve every problem. You have identified with anxiety. You wake up, you look in the mirror, and you go, well, you know, a lot of me is anxiety. Well, with this, we have to get to the point where we say anxiety is something that is an effect because of things that I'm doing. Anxiety is not who I am. Notice the difference. Anxiety is the effect of things that I'm doing compared to anxiety is who I am. That is a massive game changer there. And of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but we have to start somewhere, okay? By disidentifying from being anxiety. Reason number 2 is that anxiety fulfills a need. You're going, fulfills a need? What the hell are you talking about, Dennis? Well, this was the case for me because the only thing I ever wanted was for anxiety to disappear. But the truth was, I'll give you an example in my life, right? My anxiety was there because I didn't want to work long hours at work. And I didn't want to work long hours at work because there was a risk of my self-worth decreasing. I was afraid to socialize. I was afraid to put myself out there. So when I had anxiety, it gave me a reason to stay away from work and therefore stay away from people and the unfamiliarness that may show up because of long work hours. Okay, that's just one example. So the anxiety is fulfilling a need. It's very difficult for us to admit what need that is. But once we do and we start to tackle that thing, right? That experience or the relationships or whatever it may be, then the anxiety starts to subside because there's no more reason for it to be there. So I ask you this, what need is anxiety fulfilling in your life? Write that down, right? Have some reflection time to yourself, and I promise you're going to find answers. Reason number 3 for why anxiety sticks around. You're unsure of what inner peace may bring. This was me for so many years, right? If I do meet with a sense of inner peace, what is it going to be like? And a lot of people, right, who have suffered from anxiety for many years, wake up in the morning and there's no mental chatter and they're going, where's the mental chatter? right? Or what happened to that anxiety symptom? Or why is nothing going wrong in my life? And they start to freak out, right? Because it's such an unfamiliar experience, right? But the truth is this, right? You have to start connecting to this feeling of neutrality. You have to start connecting yourself to this feeling of inner peace, because when you do, you will start to identify with that world instead of the anxiety world, okay? So just because you're unsure of the outcome and the fruits to your labor, right? The work that you're doing and the results that are going to show up because of it, doesn't mean you mustn't keep going, right? Keep moving forward on this uncertain and unfamiliar path that you're on, and make sure that when inner peace shows up, you welcome it in, right? So you wake up in the morning, there's no anxiety symptom, you're going, ooh, yeah, what I'm doing is working. I welcome this feeling in. Although it's different, different isn't always bad, right? Reason number 4, you've become addicted to control. Okay, so control has been this, this has led to this rigidity, right? This feeling of I have to hang on to everything in my life. And what's starting to happen now with a lot of anxiety sufferers is they're starting to look to control every aspect of their body. And one part of their body, if in fact a part of their body starts to feel different, right, a sensation or feel different, then they start to freak out, right? And this can lead to health anxiety. So not only are you trying to control things on the inside that more often than not you don't have total control over, you're starting to control things on the outside, right? And the more you look to control things on the outside, the more disappointed you're going to be and the more irritable you're going to be, because you don't have control over things on the outside. You don't have control over how people drive. You don't have control over what people say. You don't have control over, what people do and such. So it's very important that you get to a place where you understand that the lack of control is something that you can trust. You can trust in not having the control that your inner child or ego-centered prison wants you to have. Okay, and this mindset is very, very important. You have to wake up every single morning going, give me the awareness, give me the mindfulness in that very moment to let go of the things that I don't have control over, okay? And if you do this, then you'll be prepared for an uncertain day, and you may even embrace it, my friends. Reason number 5 is you believe at some level of your being that you deserve to suffer. Now we're going deep, okay? We're going to a place that we're not very consciously aware of. There's a part of us, many of us, that feels like we deserve to suffer because of things that we did or didn't do from the past, okay? And if this sounds like you, and right in this moment you're getting emotional and maybe you're crying and you're going, Dennis, this is really speaking to me, right? Then I'm right there with you, okay? Because I felt like I didn't deserve happiness. I didn't deserve joy. I didn't deserve inner peace. I didn't deserve financial freedom. I didn't deserve pleasant relationships. Until I got to a point where I realized that I could start over, number 1, and number 2, the things that happened to me and the things that happened to you in the past had to happen that way for you to learn the lessons that you're learning right now, okay? We have to understand that in your life right now, your main purpose is to liberate yourself from the ego-centered prison or the inner child-centered prison. That is your purpose. You are liberating yourself. And the truth is, in order to take another step forward to liberating yourself, you have to go, I do deserve The old me feels like he or she doesn't deserve, but the new me feels like I deserve everything. And starting today, I'm going to be the most kind to myself. I'm going to love myself first. I'm going to celebrate every little win, and I'm going to go through this day victorious because I'm done being a victim. That's the truth, my friends, okay? Number six is that your emotional refractory period, I'll explain in a second, is set on fear or set to fear, okay? Hence, your emotional refractory period is making all the choices for you. Now, when we think about refractory period, we think about sexual activities, right? And when you're having sex, right? At the climax, between climax and getting back to neutrality or a functionable state, right? There's a bit of time there, right? When you climax, you're kind of at that point where you're kind of dazed and confused, right? You're a little rattled, and then it takes a bit of time to get back to, you know, functionable or neutral, right? Same thing as you're going through the day with the emotional refractory period. If you have an experience that is highly emotional, whether that be fear or peace or happiness, whatever it may be, joy, right? But here we're talking about fear. If you have a very high level of fear, an experience of deep fear, and you feel it, then that emotional state will look to survive for as long as possible, right? So what's going to happen here is all your senses are plugged into fear because you experience fear in that moment. And as you're going through the day, it will look to survive. So everything that you see becomes more fearful. Everything that you hear, right, becomes more fearful. Now you're really irritated, getting angry, right? Everything that you smell, right? You're going, oh, I don't like that smell. I got to get away from that smell, right? Everything that you taste, it's not the same taste. I just don't like it. So the fear, the anger, the negativity, the criticism, the irritability, all of these things start to become coupled in because the emotional refractory period is set to fear. Okay, this is important to understand, right? The quickest way to stop the emotional refractory period is to do something that jolts your body, like a really quick cold shower, right? You come out of that cold shower and you're going, oh my God, I feel like I left the fear back in the shower, and this is a good thing. It's kind of drained off of me. You can also use imagery exercises, right? So you could go to the bathroom, to the sink, okay, wash your hands, and as you wash your hands and you look at the water that's dripping off of your hands, imagine that the dripping of the water is the fear that's coming off of your hands, or the anger, or the irritability, whatever it is, right? Very powerful imagery exercise. You can do this anytime, but especially when your emotional refractory period is set to fear, my friends, okay? So keep this in mind. Number 7, you've come to accept anxiety and all its symptoms to be there upon waking up. What you expect will become your reality. So if you expect healing, expect that reality to show up. If you expect suffering, expect that to be your reality throughout the day. Okay, so if you wake up in the morning and you expect anxiety to be there, guess what? Don't be surprised when it does show up throughout the day, right? Wake up in the morning, expect inner peace. Wake up in the morning, expect yourself to be prepared for any kind of experience that you have that may trigger anxiousness. This is a much better mindset, right? But pay attention to how much expectation you have to experiencing anxiety, okay? Number 8, this is important. Oh my God, this is powerful, powerful. Your friends and family have grown accustomed to this identity. Therefore, changing it may be unacceptable to them. You're not changing because you feel like you may let people down, okay? And when you let people down, you feel like you're going to be ostracized. You feel like, you know, people aren't going to be as friendly with you, and you don't know what to expect with this new identity that you are when you're in the relationship, right? Because for some people who have been married for years and years and years and have grown accustomed to one another, right? This change that's happening. Maybe you're going from a negative place to a positive place. This change that is available to you becomes less available to you the more you fear the outcome of that change, right? So if you're going, oh my God, my wife, well, she's so accustomed to this person, the anxiety, the worry, right? Plus through the worry, I'm being babied more often than not, and I really like that feeling. Some people do, right? For you to leave that world will take a lot of courage, right? Will take a willingness to explore and a curiosity over what it's going to be like. If you can add these aspects, then you can see change in a positive manner rather than something that's going to be very debilitating, my friends, okay? So don't continue to stay where you are just because your friends or family may not accept it, because that's not good, okay? The most important perspective is the one coming from you. The most important life to live is the one that you're living on the inside, okay? And this is very important. I'm at a place now where I could spend, days by myself without anybody else and never feel lonely, because I love spending time with myself. I love getting to know the new me, and this needs to be you as well, my friends. Number 9. You've overvalued the habit of worry. You rely on worry for every challenging situation. Anxiety sufferers have a very difficult time leaving things alone, right? So when a situation arises, they go, well, how did I deal with this last time? I worried. Let's go to worry again, because that automatic response is very much programmed within people. Okay, so we need to devalue the habit of worry. Okay, keep this in mind. Devalue the habit of worry. That means worrying over your kids. That means worrying over your husband or wife. Worrying about what direction the world is going. Worrying about what's going to happen in the next election. Worrying about what TV show you're going to watch, so on and so forth. Worrying about what tomorrow may bring. Worrying about what happens after death. That sort of thing, right? So we have to leave things to themselves sometimes. Actually more often than not, right? So devalue worry. See how worry is decreasing your life experience and not helping you thrive in life. This is powerful. Number 10, and this is key, okay? I'm looking right at you here, okay? You're just not willing to sacrifice the habits that perpetuate your anxiety. Let's admit it. You're just not willing to sacrifice these things. You're not willing to sacrifice coffee. You're not willing to sacrifice video games. You're not willing to sacrifice your reality shows and those action-packed movies. You're not willing to sacrifice the energy vampires that you have as friends or acquaintances. You're not willing to sacrifice that toxic job environment that you're in. You're not willing to sacrifice junk food and processed foods and any kind of sugary foods. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes with healing, okay? And you must understand that it's time. It's time to let go of the things that we call entertainment. And it's time to step aside from needing what the latest news may be, okay? Because that's the only way we're going to start finding ourselves. It's a very loud world out there, right? And we feel like we have to be a part of that loud world. We don't, right? And when we start to make peace with the silence, when we start to make peace with our world's volume being turned down, we will find ourselves again. And when we find ourselves again, we can look back at our old identity and go, who was that person? All the things that I worried about were so petty. I can't believe I wasted so much time and energy and focus on those things. Look at me now. right? I have a blank mind and I'm okay with it, right? I'm ignorant to some things and that's okay. I don't have to rely on the mental chatter or the worry anymore because I have sacrificed the things that used to give me temporary dopamine rushes, right? I'm giving those things up now for something so much greater that I cannot see right now, but I know will show up in time. You must sacrifice those temporary pleasures for long-term fulfillment. You must do this starting today. Warrior, comment below and let me know which one of these 10 points spoke to you most loudly, okay? Join the community. Let's start a conversation here, and I can't wait to hear from you. If this video spoke to you, give it a like and share it with somebody who needs it, because right now in the world, we need more people to step up. We really do. To step up and say, you know what? There's another way to see this thing that you're worried about. And things will be okay, right? You just have to have faith and put to practice these things that you're learning. In time, change will show up. Remember that you are more than anxiety. I love you. Comment below.